Hello, good evening. Thomas Orths, Will Not Change TV. My associate, my partner Gisela Dengler, and myself, we've chosen this spot here. It's a lobby situation, staircase in a large Frankfurt hotel. We liked it because there's several stones, you can even move them around. There's 7, 8 stones. And this has to do with the topic of today. There's a staircase as well. So we wanted to address something that we think is very interesting, and you can check whether you've got it right. If not, maybe we can help. Gisela, what do we want to talk about?
We want to talk about values, which is actually a little bit maybe the fashion right now, because you can read about it and in a lot of magazines and newspapers, and all the big companies put their values in the philosophy of the company,
yes.
And it's transported within the company into the outside world, and still we think it can be improved what's going on.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing, on one hand, because of your, let's say, year-end report, and you need those big words, it needs to be visible on your website, that's all good. Ask yourself, is it just lip service? Is it just an empty shell? Are our people really living this? What we see often is that companies have good intention, but people don't really know what their values are. It wasn't really discussed collaborative. Maybe someone designed a nice piece of design. This is our values of the company, put it up, but there's no buy-in. So sometimes we have this when we do value-driven workshops. People ask, well, what are values? Can you give some examples? What can you give as typical examples that we collect when we work with groups?
So people seem to like honesty a lot, also respectful communication, respectful use of resources, human and natural resources, but also sustainability, so not going for the short-term shots, really stick to what's planned and go through it even if it's getting rough. Fair chances, fair treatment, those are the kind of values that people want to live and that also companies do promise quite often.
Yes, another one, big one, I regard myself as a family man, so how can you combine work and private life, where's the balance? So think about this, balance is a good word. They are really very flexible, not very much foundation there, and sometimes it's delicate. You've got different values, they're in connection, and if you don't clearly define, this is our first value, second, third, let's say a project team, it can get difficult, and this is what I find. I work with a global project team, 40 people from 3 continents, and the project starts, and very quickly, more time pressure, the budget goes out of hands, people use their elbows, they protect, they're part of the pie, of the resources, and then it gets tricky. And if you don't have those values in place, people will disrespect, not because they are vicious, but it hasn't really been clarified and jointly decided this is what we will respect. And then we have to do exactly this work and make sure that everyone has it on the radar screen and lives by it. Maybe what have you experienced in large companies rather than just, let's say, project teams? What is there your experience how this topic is treated?
Well,
what is the tricky bit?
I think the tricky bit is that sometimes there is really a lot of money used to really install and introduce everything, and then it's just forgotten. Nobody talks about it anymore. And this loses the confidence in the values and also kills a little bit the motivation. So if you want to make sure to really gain from the money you are investing, make sure that it's going on, that it's a following up situation and process.
Yes. And the best way that we found, and this is also why I like this scenario, not only do we have those flexible stones here, which we use as stools at the moment, we've got the staircase. You can go up and down. And if you want to be successful in the area of a value-driven organization, where the external and internal customers know what your values are and respect you for it as a company, as an organization, then you have to drive this process top down and bottom up. You need to involve all the levels. Everyone needs to understand why it is important and give their contribution. Collaborative decisions, what values are the most important ones. And then you need to make sure that they understand this is a value-driven process. What we found is a good combination would be live workshops, events combining with smaller working groups. We use an action learning approach where we really have in small groups intensive discussions on real business issues. Okay, this is what we experience, this is the values, how does it fit? How can we resolve this without disregarding the value? If you want short-term success, that's a decision. If you have therefore to have to remove the big one, that's another decision. Do you want this? As a final comment, if you think about it, what is written on in your company brochure at the wall, on the corridor, in your workplace, and how do people feel about it when they walk by? We've often witnesses that people from the middle management, or let's say the basis of the company, there's a cynical smile, yeah, because they've seen it all before and it isn't lived. You don't want this, they don't want this, and we don't want this. So let's engage in communication. If you're open, let's discuss. We can come up with case studies, experiences, and you can be the judge. So I hope that was a little bit inspiring. Thanks for listening, and hopefully you stay in tune and we see you soon again. Bye bye.